Get this. Weekdays on the Triple M network and KOFM in Newcastle.
And now, finally, after months of negotiation, Santo Cilauro. He was the Hoon advisor for many years on Triple M Melbourne. Thanks for coming in, Santo.
Back in the days when hoons were allowed on the street.
Hoons were loved.
Courage.
Now, for months, and Newcastle listeners, just bringing you up to speed, Santo was part of the breakfast team on Triple M Melbourne many years ago. People used to send in envelopes, letters, invitations to things. After 5 years, he had a wall with 100 or so misspellings of his name. Snato was our favourite.
It is, and mine too. I love it. There's a ring to it. It's not very showbiz though, is it?
No.
So catchy though.
Santo Claron was another.
Santo. Yes. I also got a Shinto. I did. Shinto Calero.
But your name is apparently so hard to spell that at one point on Wikipedia they were explaining the Snato mistake and they said what it was meant to be and that was wrong as well.
Oh, they got it wrong.
Snaton Gloron, I think they had. Now, I've been to a couple of countries where you'll see...
But you've never been to you?
No, I haven't. It's an ongoing problem. But I see Mulvaney around the world, and there's your granddad. Isn't that great? Because that's your granddad on the front of Mulvaney.
It's the ongoing joke, Tony. You remember from Late Show days, we'd try and stick my granddad in everything we could possibly do.
And now he's everywhere.
He is everywhere. In different languages, it's been translated. Mulvaney's been translated into about 10 different languages or something.
Yeah, I saw it in Germany when I was there.
Yeah. And there's my granddad there with his teeth and everything. He's fantastic. We're very, very proud of it.
But how do the jokes go translated into, say, German? I mean,
we just don't know. We don't know. We're sitting there, people go, it's a very funny book. And you're going, I don't know. How have you translated this? And we have no control at all. Did I tell you about the Italian publishers?
No.
I once got emailed at home from Italy's top breakfast radio show. Right. Somehow they got
What's it called?
I don't actually. Something about a moon, late moon rising or something like that.
Sweet.
Anyway,
the late moon rising crew.
That's right. They've got the Black Thunder Fiats travelling around. But anyway, they called me up during the weekend. They said a friend of theirs, a correspondent for them in Sydney, had my email address, passed it on. Said, look, I know this is highly irregular, but we want you to be on the breakfast show on Monday morning. And I thought, yeah, sure, I'm happy to do that. But I didn't tell our publishers in Italy about this, and I thought, they shouldn't wake up in the morning and hear me on and not having done it through, their media thing. So I immediately called up the head of the company because, we know each other, and I said, look, just in case you hear this thing, I don't want you to think that we've gone outside, you guys. I thought it'd be a good idea. The guy goes, oh, don't worry about it. I've just done 2 interviews this week pretending to be you. So the publishers are just walking around going, yeah, no, someone wants to do an interview. No, I'm the author. Yeah, it's okay. No, I'll do it.
Did he have any good material?
I don't know.
What is Italian for Battle of the Sexes? I'm assuming you would have had to have done that. What have I got here? Illegal toys. I mean, you've got kids, Santa. Do you have to... look out for dangerous and illegal toys?
Well, no, my kids just punch each other up. They don't even need toys to hurt themselves.
Are you teaching them the old Terence Hill, Bud Spencer moves?
Yeah, I am, actually. And a bit of Three Stooges stuck in there. But they've developed their own moves, actually.
Right. Because
what do you got there?
Children in peril. Tens of thousands of unsafe and banned toys are flooding into novelty stores and markets. Yeah.
That sounds great, actually.
Toys that include guns that shoot darts and yo-yos that can strangle infants. Watch out for them.
That's not what they're designed for, though, is it?
No, watch out for these banned toys. Baby's first matches. Flammable phosphorus and strawberry flavoured. I wouldn't want those in my child's mouth. Choke-a-mon. The cute Japanese goblin that expands in your throat. Barrel-o-use syringes. Ouch. Barbie's asbestos-lined dream house. Botched operation. Have you seen that one? It's just a rusty scalpel and a T-shirt labelled with vague surgical entry points. T-shirt. And I can't even describe what happens with Bugger Me Elmo. So all of those toys are banned. Stay away, children.
I like the idea of the T-shirt. Kids popping on a T-shirt. All right.
I want a game where the catchcry is, I ain't got a gun yet.
Oh, kids with guns. We don't need that on there. Didn't we have some kids take pot shots at us in a sketch? That was very disturbing.
The Patterson Lakes kids.
The kids from the Patterson Lakes Primary
get a
School.
Machine gun.
We got a complaint once. Remember, Tony, from the Late Show when we used to do the Pissweak kids?
Oh, that was so funny.
I remember getting a letter from the child services or whatever that is and say, and it basically was as short as this: you are not allowed to point a gun at a child's head on television.
Did we do that?
Yeah, I'm afraid we did.
The oldest kid in the Pissweak kids,
Yeah.
the boy with the dark hair.
Yeah.
What's happened to him?
No. He's
hysterical.
I saw him on a film clip.
You really?
I swear I saw a really good film clip. He was in a train. Oh, I wish I could remember the song. It was an Australian clip, but he was in a train. He was really good.
God, because he was so funny, just that deadpan, hating everything at Pissweak.
They should come back and do a video. Get a band together. Pissweak Kids on the Block.
With the tin lids. Pissweak Kids in the tin lids.
Raj Barker.
Thank you.
How do you go getting into the country? I mean, you've been here a few times. Are you considered trouble at the airport?
No, actually, I think some of the people know me at the airport. They're pretty good. They're like, oh, yeah, you can go through.
Really?
You don't need to show us that.
We've seen you before.
Oh, hey, how'd you get in here, mate?
Well,
they checked my ID and all that, but the dog was looking at my suitcase funny. They're like, it's just ours.
Satiny Caftans are the big talking.
Yeah, Caftans.
Massive.
Oh, it must be time for a
Satiny Caftan update.
We found this ad for Satiny Caftan lounges in one of the women's magazines, and we thought, let's get them.
We need some.
And out of stock. Can you believe that there would be that big a demand for a fashion item like that, Arj?
So they don't have any?
No.
They're completely out of caftans?
There's nothing. There's
not
nothing
one.
until the 26th of October.
It's so luxurious, and it says you can wear them while entertaining or even for a candlelight dinner for two. Although I find it hard to believe that you're going to find anyone to have dinner with you if you wear one of those.
You're wearing a caftan, and it would also be quite dangerous, I
also
thought.
suggest you can sleep in them.
You just
So
do
I
anything
think-
in them.
I think that's the idea. You just never have to take them off.
Yeah, I don't know if that's not going to be very good. I don't want my date to show up like clothes she slept in. I want a little more effort.
But the thing
Wear
is,
a belt?
it's all about no effort. But we don't want to suggest that they're moo-moos.
No.
Because that's what
No,
that's when you
Weirdos.
really have just
What a
given
weirdo.
up, I think.
Right?
I mean, that's something you see in the States a lot. Here's something we don't really have here.
What?
People who are so big they have to be craned out of their house.
We haven't had one of those yet.
What is that about, Arch? I mean, how
Well, that's
people...
not like a regular occurrence, but we have some pretty big folks back home.
Yeah.
Every now and again you'll see it. Such and such from somewhere, craned out of his house through the roof.
Morbidly obese, it's called. How are they getting the food? How are they getting to the fridge?
On a stick.
On a stick.
But they might have it delivered.
Right, to the bedroom. All the way to the bedroom.
Yeah, it's possible. And there's all sorts of delivery services back home. Some of them will even feed it to you.
Hey, that's all right.
Ed claims they're being fed like a bit of sandwich on the end of a stick.
That's what I reckon.
Just
Can't
reaching
lift their
over.
arms. Just put it in front of their face and they'll chew off what they can.
Yeah, but there's a lot of fat people back there.
There's no denying it.
But that doesn't matter because the caftan fits any figure.
It's true.
What about this show, When Sex Goes Wrong? This is a great show that a lot of people are alerting us to.
I think I saw it's a British show, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. It's pretty out there. It's like all these stories like, people like crap, one lady like crapped the bed and like, and then she was having a one night stand and she rolled the guy into it and made him think that he'd done it. And he woke up and he was like really mortified. And she's like, I think you better go now.
I mean, that's a desperate situation. That's a me or you situation.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to be.
Good show.
You've been here so many times, Arj. A lot of overseas comedians come in and they have a long list of things that they need explaining because they don't get it about Australia. I'm assuming you've pretty much got the hang of the place now.
But the thing that confuses me is there's like rugby and then there's footy and then there's Australian rules. And it's all pretty... I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a big week for it too.
But they love it. I know people love it. I mean, I know that they're really into it. They have... people have their scarves.
That's all right. We're nerds on this show, so we're not really getting behind the whole grand final week thing.
Oh, fair enough.
But I do love the way the football supporters go nuts. Like you say, chanting.
Yeah.
We nerds, there's no
Bit of
chanting.
face
Film
painting.
buffs, we
No.
up there Scorsese. I always try to get a chorus of that going at the film festival.
never
Nothing,
gets
they don't
enough.
get into it.
But there's good moments for nerds, too. Like, when you... I don't know, when you finally get your DSL firing as fast as you want it. And it's like, way!
It makes life worth living. I've got the Foxtel, and there's a show on there called Girls of the Playboy
I
Mansion.
have seen that.
And it's just a reality show where they follow Hugh Hefner and... I mean, are they his wives? Who
No,
are those
they're-
women?
They're his girlfriends. It's like MySpace. He's got his top 8 kind of girlfriends,
Yeah.
and then he's got the sort of bottom 1,000 underneath that.
I thought, how can I choose just one clip that sums up the whole series?
Yeah,
So have a
I've
listen to
never
this.
seen it. I've never seen it.
This is just a brief moment that
Okay.
I think sums up the whole show.
My dress was not really staying on during the scavenger hunt, but that's okay. I'd rather get the clues and have my clothes anyways.
There you go. A semi-nude scavenger hunt. That's pretty much every hour.
How do you lose your clothes in a scavenger hunt?
Yeah, that's
What is it?
I don't know. Do you want to hear some more of that woman?
No, I want to
That's
know.
one of...
What's her name?
I can't remember because
Come on,
there's the
it ends in an
Trixie and
E.
Stacey
Yeah, it
and
ends in an E.
Tiffany, someone like that. They're all interchangeable sort of wives of Hef.
All right,
Here's
Hef's
a bit
wife.
more.
Like, I have this huge butt fetish, guys and girls, you know. And, what was I talking about again?
Easily distracted.
What was I talking about?
Talking about butts about a second and a half earlier and then just forgot where she was.
Poor thing.
At one-
Blood fetish is taking over.
well, she's got her clothes are falling off. There's a scavenger hunt. There's a lot on her mind.
And then...
Why were they having a scavenger hunt? What was it in aid of?
I don't know. I was distracted by the enormous breasts. I'll be honest with you.
Well, that's what they do in reality shows. They always come up with like, today, we're gonna have, they'll do some things that no one would ever do in reality. Like have a scavenger hunt.
Or visit the Statue of Liberty. Listen, I think this is a dodgy sound. Listen very closely to hear what either Trixie or Tiffany said when they reached the Statue of Liberty.
She looks tiny from far away. Was Statue of Liberty a real person? No. They're all laughing at me like I was stupid or something.
Is the Statue of Liberty a real person?
A really tall person who's green.
I mean, was there someone getting around? Jennifer of Liberty with that hat on and that gear?
Someone's seen her and gone, you know what? I think that woman Jennifer would make a good statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We could whack that up in New York
Well, okay.
and represent everything that's good about this joint.
Okay, yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah?
Why did they go to the Statue of Liberty?
Oh, I don't know.
And how did they get them scantily clad in that situation?
The clothes just fall off.
Really?
It's pretty much Hef, and he's got two women on each arm.
Yeah.
I think they're all married,
Oh, yeah.
and the clothes just
He's
tumble
just
away.
He's just got a string that he pulls every now and again, and everyone's clothes come
I don't
off.
think it was a real Statue of Liberty. I think it was probably at one of their garden parties, and it was made of Jello.
All right.
Girls of the Statue of Liberty.
Same message.
And
And what are they playing for? Are they playing for anything?
oh, there's no competition element.
That show is all about freedom. It's about freedom of lifestyle.
It is because they can do anything they want as long as Hef's happy. And
So is Hef in it?
he's in it. He's lurking around. Here's one of them
Lurking.
making Hef dinner. And this is, I don't think this woman had ever cooked anything before.
I'm going to make hamburgers, hot dogs, which should be pretty easy. And how hard can it be to cook a burger and a hot dog?
Yeah, I've never cooked before. Yeah, this is a housewife costume.
I'm wearing a housewife costume because if I'm going to do something like cook, I want to celebrate it with a costume.
It was
What about a chef's outfit?
It was a virtually invisible costume. It was very little. It didn't really look like a housewife
What was she
costume
wearing?
to me.
What was it?
It was just basically a boob tube.
That's housewives for you.
There you go.
They get around. And then
tubes
Hef
to go.
arrives for the meat banquet.
Is it his birthday or anything, or is it just
That's just every day for Hef.
okay?
In the gear, sitting at table. And you know what you want?
He always wears a bathrobe, right?
Always the same bathrobe and the silk pajamas.
Silk pajamas.
And bit of a comb over happening. But he's over 80 or something.
He's
isn't
80
he?
years old.
He's very frail, isn't he?
And what you want is the wisdom of Hef. You want it. So what does he talk about around the table? Have a listen to this.
That's 69. No, that's 96, actually.
Unpopular position, 96.
Yeah, why don't they call it 96?
There would be two people with their
They
backs to
can call
one
it,
another.
I think they can.
That's why.
What?
There would be two people with
yeah,
their
you're
backs to
right.
one another.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
That's why 96 never caught on.
It's actually a pretty sharp observation.
It is. It's not bad.
That's right.
He was pretty quick on that.
He really had thought that through.
It's almost like he's given it some thought before.
Maybe he's tried the 96.
Wasn't good enough.
It's basically just Hugh and giggling.
Because at first I was like, yeah, why don't they call it a 96? And then he sorted it right out.
So how does it end? Like, how do you get to be one of the girls of the Playboy Mansion?
You've just got to sleep with Hugh Hefner.
What do you do? Show up?
Yeah, I don't know. But this is what it's like having sex with Hef.
It was just like lightning. I blinked and it was over.
Oh, that's a cheap shot. That's unfair.
Oh no.
And so many people emailing in about you, Arch. Sinead is a big fan of yours.
Oh, yeah, what'd she say?
She says her love for you is almost as strong as her hate for Nickelback.
That's the greatest compliment a person can give.
She's realised she's doing Year 12 at the moment, the final year of school, and she's realised in the grand scheme of things that Year 12 doesn't matter as much as the website catsthatlooklikehitler.com.
Oh, we've had a lot of...
She's on the way.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't
Girl.
happy.
Why?
Some people say that a lot of the cats don't, in fact, look like Hitler on that website.
I reckon they're being harsh on the cats.
You a cat lover? Arch?
Yeah, I like cats a lot. Yeah, I also like dogs though. Like, I don't know why everyone's like, you have to be like a cat person or a dog person.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I enjoy making love to both cats and dogs. I don't see why.
Do you feel that a Hitler moustache sort of takes the edge off the cuteness, though?
A tiny bit. It depends what breed it is.
Yeah, you could always just cover that up, obviously.
I mean, he ruined that style, didn't he? I mean, by itself, there's nothing wrong with a mustache. But he pretty much ruined it.
My wife claims she saw a bloke at the supermarket with a Hitler moustache last week.
Way.
I don't buy it.
No way.
I'm saying there was Hitler, there was Charlie Chaplin, and there was Blakey from On the Buses, a very obscure English sitcom. And that is it. I mean, have you ever seen a Hitler moustache in real life?
No, you don't. No. It's over.
No, it's gone. It's dead.
There's so many mysteries. We've had her Groovy Bob, who constantly emails us.
Hi, Groovy Bob.
He says if Superman is super strong and kryptonite is the only thing that can hurt Superman and lead is the only substance that kryptonite can't penetrate, why doesn't Superman just wear a lead costume?
Heavy.
It would be heavy, but not for Superman.
Not for Superman.
But it would be unflattering.
Yeah,
it would be bulky and unflattering.
Well, they actually make lead Caftans now.
Is that right?
Which are, you can sleep in them in a pile of kryptonite.
Nothing.
We have dinner for two. And the main course is roast kryptonite.
Then you'll be safe.
You'll be fine. So forget about it.
In the Superman movies, when he wants to go up to his hideout up at the North Pole,
or whatever it is.
he just flies up there
Yeah.
and he just sort of, it appears to be open plan. He just lands in some crystals and he's there.
Yeah.
There's no lock.
No.
There's no security system.
No.
But in the comics, if you think back, older people, he had to actually open it with a giant key. Do you remember this, Richard?
No, I've never.
There was like a door in the side of a mountain, and then he had a giant metal key, like about 50 feet long, hidden behind a tree, and he would fly down. And you go, it's just a bit literal, isn't it? Obviously, he's got to unlock it, but the process of having a giant key every time.
Move a big rock.
That would be simpler, you would think. That would keep the brainiac
People
out.
would see the giant key and wonder if that goes in that giant lock up there.
Usually when you see someone holding a giant key, you just think, well, it's just symbolic. It's like, whenever it's like the key to the city.
Yeah.
You don't really use it for anything.
You don't think you're going to pop down to the town hall and that's going to fit
Make
somewhere.
yourself in.
Angus Sampson is with us.
I did go to the AFL game. My favourite bit was when Brian Mannix
kicked a goal
Was
from
he
halfway. Yeah.
Mannix,
Got a jersey.
Mannix went hard at it, but there was two bits. Of course, the camera showed him singing "Rich and Rare," which with him was "Witch and Wear" on the national anthem.
Yeah.
But my favourite bit was where they were singing. I think Sean Kelly from the Models was singing, and in between the chorus, the rest of the guys stand back from the mic. So Joe Cavalieri and Daryl Braithwaite,
Right.
and Mannix. But Brian Mannix was on the end. He got a little sidetracked, and he missed. He stepped back and he missed the step forward to come back in. Down, in, out. Anyway, I was watching him, and everyone else stepped forward, and he missed it, and he jumped forward. I hear the motion.
Was jeans just too tight? Could that have been it?
There was a spark.
Delayed reaction.
There was a spark as they ran over one another. Has anyone had a go at the players not thanking? This is in the AFL. They get the children. They get children dressed in the winning team's outfit to present them.
Hardly anyone shook the kid's hand.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Every year they have a
snubbing kids and like their little faces. This is the best moment of their life. One guy, he got up there first or second to get his medal. The kid puts his hand out. He kind of looked at him, turned around and gave it like some
six shooters.
Yeah, some 6 shooters to the crowd instead.
6 shooters off the hips. But I actually thought that they were their own children at the start.
Oh.
You know, like that.
Maybe
that-
they're being introduced to their illegitimate children for the first time. That's nice.
Do you remember your time at the OBH Hotel last February?
It's me, Dad.
Well, that sounds like a top weekend, but you've got some clips from a movie.
Mate, I'm so anxious to get to them. Guzzy Sampson sent me this a week ago, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger having a top weekend, probably in the 70s, I'd say.
77.
77, judging by the massive guns and outrageous Hawaiian
Have you
shirts
seen
he's
it,
sporting.
No.
Right. This is Arnold. He's just like a little short travel doco. They've sent him to Rio for Carnivale.
Tonight, we fly you with host Arnold Schwarzenegger to Rio de Janeiro for a visit to world-famous Carnival.
Rio, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It's hard to find more gorgeous mountains, beaches, and women anywhere. You know something? After watching the mulattoes shake it, I can absolutely understand why Brazil is totally devoted to my favorite body part, the ass, especially during Carnival. The longer I was in Rio, the more I wanted to learn a little bit of the Portuguese language. I think in Bali I found a perfect teacher. I like the Portuguese language because it's so romantic. It reminds me of the Italian language. Can you teach me a little bit about it? Some nice words like love and so.
Amor.
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 Amor. Love.
Love.
I learned one word yesterday. Boongar.
What's that?
Huh? Boongar. Yeah, you like boongar.
Right. Now that's it. Right?
That's quite
Now,
disturbing.
It's clear that he says he wants to learn romantic words like love, and then he said, I've learnt one word, boongar, right? And then by her reaction and his sort of maniacal laugh, I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean,
Love.
Yeah,
No.
I'm pretty sure it's got something. Maddie Dower and I isolated that line and played it a million times, and
Yes.
then went on the internet to the Portuguese-English dictionaries, because there's many, and we cannot work out what that word means.
Boongar.
Yeah, it's something like that. So for our Portuguese listeners, please, someone who speaks some Portuguese,
Put the Nando's down
and
give us a call.
Exactly, shave the moustache and give us.
That'll get him in. But I wish he would still use that kind of language, in his diplomatic ventures. Going to Brazil as governor of California. Home of my favorite body part, the ass.
Well, I should point out that while that's happening, he's at a nightclub and there's like Brazilian girls like shaking it, like in the full Carnivale costume, and Arnold's in the corner with his guide, this like attractive woman, doing like fingers up to his eyes, like he's got goggles on.
Look at all the eyes.
He does. He chases them round. Like he
picks them up.
does. Three of them. He grabs three of them by the arse.
Enrico, are you there?
I certainly am.
Now, do you habla portuguese?
My parents have only learnt it when I went back to visit the relatives.
Okay, now it's 9:56 in the morning. Is this going to be all right to say on air?
Look, yeah, it is, but it's...
In some states, it's later and therefore safer.
Okay, let's clean
I
it.
think Portugal are using it right now, that word.
Oh, so right. So let's clean it up a bit. Now, when Arnold says he wants to learn about love and romance, and the only word he's learned is boongar, what's he referring to?
Okay, that's a word you use in the very intimate moment when you are reaching a certain point of your lovemaking.
Ah! So you've got to that point and you just throw in a boongar?
Look, I've come to that point right now.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you, Enrico.
Gracias. Gracias.
Thank you, sir.
So if we listen to that again now, knowing that he's coming to that certain point, her response, boongar. Yes. Boongar.
Monica, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm excellent. Tell us about your sweet weekend.
Yes. Just calling you now because I'm Brazilian, and you're asking for that word.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the guy that called you before, he said something wrong, actually.
Really?
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the word is actually not bunga, it's bunda.
And what does it mean?
It means ass.
Oh, so clearly.
Maybe even better, huh?
You have to be careful with your pronunciation.
Yeah. So Enrique's parents...
B-U-N-D-A, bunda.
Have you seen that clip of Arnold in Rio?
No.
Oh, you get onto your YouTube and type in Arnold in Rio and watch him, just basically groping everyone.
And is Arnold's view of your country an accurate one? Is it the home of the ass?
Maybe.
Thank you very much.
Craig Eagle is sitting in today. What about those Americans and religion? Don't they love it?
Oh, they're mad for it.
Now, there's some woman, I've got her name written down somewhere. She was on the Channel 10 News.
Mm-hmm.
She's training kiddies as young as 6 to be suicide bombers for Jesus. They've decided we'll fight fire with fire. That's the way to go. Just to show that I'm not exaggerating, have a listen to this.
A startling documentary reveals how the Jesus Camp urges youngsters to sacrifice their lives for Christ.
It's a boot camp for Christian soldiers, where children as young as 6 speak in tongues. At her North Dakota Kids on Fire camp, Pastor Becky Fisher's creating an army to take back America for Christ.
Take these prophecies and do what the Apostle Paul said and make war with them.
Fisher abuses her charges for failing as disciples of the Lord.
You're a phony and a hypocrite.
Then whips them into a frenzy to oppose anti-Christian concepts like abortion. And to support born-again Christian President George W. Bush. They're even challenged to make the ultimate sacrifice for God.
How many of you want to be those who would give up their lives for Jesus?
Kids are told to forget contemporary heroes.
And had it been in the Old Testament, Harry Potter would have been put to death.
There you go. Pastor Becky Fisher wants Harry Potter put to death.
Is it a bit too easy to become a pastor?
I think it is. See, pastor, the word pastor, I think, is a key word because you're talking about, getting kiddies to blow themselves up. That's what she's training them for.
For Jesus.
For Jesus, for a good cause.
Not just for
a valuable
Pokemon.
cause.
Now, the first thing is, don't call it Kids on Fire.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's not going to get them in.
That's not going to get them in.
Because obviously they're going to be on fire.
Yeah, and they know that from the title.
So maybe soften it up a bit with the name.
Kids at Happy Camp for Jesus.
That's what it should be.
There we
Something
go.
like that.
Kids with free rollerblades.
And then, we obviously haven't got pictures of the woman, but the thing is, she is enormous. And all of her assistants are enormous. And that South African guy going, will you sacrifice your life? He was enormous. It was 7 people, each one the size of 7 Laurie Oakses.
Maybe they're eating the kids that don't quite work out.
What about a personalised Satni Caftan? Kids on Fire range of Satni Caftan.
They would need to go to
enormous assistants.
They'd have to go to Ringling Brothers to get kitted up with a Caftan. It's a circus head.
Oh, is it?
I'm telling you. Enormous people. It doesn't look good when the whole thing's about discipline and self-control.
Ah, yes.
Kiddies, put down the Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Get with the blowing yourself up.
Yeah.
And I'll just eat these 700 pancakes while you're doing it. I mean, if you haven't got the discipline to say no to the 20th, bucket from the buffet.
Yeah, I'll put down the popular culture influencers when you stop drinking cheese straight from that can, spraying it straight into your mouth.
It's just not a good look.
No.
For fundamentalists.
No, they need to be svelte. They need to have a very kind of they need like a military kind of approach.
Yeah.
They need to be svelte, fit. Kind of good haircut.
Neatly trimmed beards.
Neatly trimmed beards.
In with the neatly trimmed beards, out with the morbid obesity.
That's not going to work.
Okay, fine, you're going to be blowing yourself up, but you should be able to drive yourself. You don't have to be craned there.
Craned.
I just think that's a bad look. Pastor Becky Fisher.
Not cool, Becky.
Pastor. But the thing is, okay, so the idea is the kiddies need to be, one thing is, more respectful and interested in the work of George W. Bush.
Yeah.
What is George Bush into these days? Have you seen this new book by Bob Woodward?
Oh, he's not a fan.
Not a fan.
Doesn't appear to be, no.
And he's got a fair few disturbing things to say, but I'll just rush straight to the odd spot from his book.
Good work.
Listen to this. Mr. Bush and his senior advisor, Karl Rove. Do you find that thing whenever you see him in the paper, you think it's Rove?
Oh, really?
Rove in Scandal.
Yeah.
Going, wasn't that bad? But no, so it's Karl Rove. Listen to this. Enjoy fart jokes, which they sometimes swap in the middle of Oval Office meetings.
Ooh.
Mr. Rove, when bored, plays with a battery-powered redneck horn, which can be attached to a car dashboard. When you press a button, it rattles off such obscenities as, "What race are you in, shithead?"
Oh.
And these are quotes from Bob Woodward's book. "Put the cell phone down, dickhead."
Ooh.
Mr. Bush, Woodward implies, finds the toy amusing. So when the meeting gets a bit dull, out with the redneck horn.
See, I've just got an image now of George Bush going, Iraq, what are we going to do about Iraq? Oh, stuff it. Pull the finger. Go on, pull the finger. That'll lighten up the mood.
I don't have the power to pull that finger. You can't handle the finger. So I just think, so you got... This is what a... I want to use the word effed up. That's what I want to use. Kiddies are being trained to blow themselves up from a bloke who's sitting around in the Oval Office firing off fart jokes.
When does it get boring in an Oval Office meeting? Aren't we talking about, like, look, President, the following things are going to change the world forever? Really? Fire one off, Carl. This is bullshit. Unemployment, I don't think so. What do you got? What's that thing got to say?
We got global warming, future of mankind.
Oh, hang on, I got one, Bob.
It's a bit dull. Bring out that horn.
Boy.
I don't know. And then, you've got George Bush's own people, the same people that told him about the weapons of mass destruction. Now saying the word...
Can't be trusted, those people.
But I love how they can be trusted when there are weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, yeah.
And then when the same people go, oh, we're wrong. There's nothing there at all.
Look, no one's perfect.
We're just making it up.
Yeah. It was a joke.
And then we don't believe them. And you've got John Howard saying... John Howard says he's dismissed a claim by US spy agencies that the Iraq war has increased the risk of terrorism.
Oh.
But these are the same spy agencies that told him about the weapons of mass destruction.
See, that's the thing about spy agencies.
Yeah.
You can't trust them. Like some days they'll say what you want, and other days they won't. What are you going to do?
And you can't find them. They're sitting around with a newspaper with the eyes cut out.
Big funny mustaches.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that guy doing?
Trench coats everywhere. You wear a trench coat walking down the street, you're virtually invisible.
It seems to me the biggest enemies of the war on terror are the US spy agencies.
Ooh.
I think that George Bush has to launch a surgical strike on his own people. That's what he's clearly got to do. People are very happy with, who was it? Angus Sampson.
Oh, Guzzy Wuzzy.
Came up with the best lookalike for Philip Ruddock.
Brilliant.
Chancellor Palpatine. In fact, whenever we talk about him, from now on we need that music. We need that. Okay. I'm old enough to remember when that was the Margaret Thatcher theme.
Ooh.
Ouch. Although Andrew is insisting that Philip Ruddock is Monty Burns.
Well, that's quite good
as well. That's very close, yes.
I think Monty Burns is a good Rupert Murdoch, though.
No. There's more like kind of like Rupert Murdoch's face is kind of a bit more melty. Like there's a bit more like, cheeks and stuff going on.
Beasley, hey?
Rupert Murdoch has also started dyeing his hair.
Has he?
And I noticed that his papers, who love to make fun of Mick Jagger for dyeing his hair and love to make fun of Paul McCartney for dyeing his hair, have just left him alone.
Unrelated tone.
He's using the same Ovaltine colour that no hair actually goes. Let's climb a certain mountain. I don't know if you were listening yesterday, Craig, but there was a big debate about the meaning of the word Boongar.
I was listening yesterday.
Arnold Schwarzenegger dropped in an old clip which Ed brought in from YouTube. And we had some bloke call up, Enrico. He was bloody convincing.
And that it meant...
orgasm is what he was suggesting.
Tone said it.
And we went along with that.
Well, we've got no reason to doubt him.
Because it's an odd thing to make up.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly he had orgasms on his mind.
He did, listening to our show, which is strange. Very strange. Although Armitage is, let's inspire that in some.
Our panel operator does get people going. Richard Marsland.
Stop licking your lips.
May know him as Armitage Shanks, if you're a Wikipedia reader. His page on Wikipedia is getting so long.
I love it. It's made up entirely of nicknames. I couldn't be happy with how that's going.
I like that the two things I'm known for is a brand of toilet and also a cottaging update.
You brought that upon yourself.
I did.
Now, I do want to put the call out. Please email us in beats that you know about because Richard's going to do another update.
Okay. So then we were naively going along with that.
Yeah.
And then some woman, Monica, called us up. Incredibly hot Brazilian woman.
Well, we think she sounded hot.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many people... you do all these fancy sketches.
I know.
And you just go, mate, who's that chick who called you up? Who's that woman?
It's always the way.
Hey, Brazil, did you keep her number, mate?
No, we didn't. That'd be stalking.
What did she went with...
Ass.
That's right.
Which made sense.
So we've got to be careful what we say on this show.
Yeah.
And here's a term I've got... Craig, would you be young enough, I guess, to remember Saved by the Bell with Screech?
Very well.
Screech.
Very well with Screech, yes.
What do you remember about Screech?
Oh, clean cut, nerdy, geeky kind of guy.
Everyone's mate.
Everyone's mate.
Everyone's
Yeah.
mate. The jocks respected his dorkiness. They didn't beat him up. The girls kind of every now and again gave him a looking because he was just so nice.
Yeah.
He was the tall, high
Clean
pitched
cut
every
American boy.
Yeah. He's all right.
He's got a sex tape out.
Good on him.
Yeah, Screech
Good on him.
has got a 40-minute video in which
40 minutes?
he engages in a kinky three-way with two women. No,
40
can't read that out.
minutes. Well done, Screech.
No, can't read that bit out. Oh, can't read that out at all. I can't even read out the title of the video.
You can't?
But it says here, we can't, this is an article, we can't get too graphic here, but word is the action includes some bodily functions and an act known as a dirty Sanchez.
Screech, are things that bad, man? You can't do dinner theatre somewhere? Or just, that's terrible.
Maybe realise that we're actually going to make him money now. Because people are going, oh, I have to see that. Screech and a Sanchez, I'm there.
40 minutes
Google.
of Screech?
Perhaps Enrico or Monica might like to call us up and tell us what a dirty Sanchez is.
Don't do that, Tony.
I get the feeling you already know it.
Don't even begin. What are you insane, man?
The phones have lit up.
Mate,
oh, dear.
You're tempting fate, man. Can we get to our phone topic, please?
Our phone topic today is stolen ideas. Have you had an idea stolen?
Michael, how are you?
I'm eating tacos a long time ago with my mum.
Yeah.
And couldn't discover why they didn't have a flat bottom, and now they've just brought them out.
Oh, yes.
Michael, when I saw that ad, I thought it was a genuine breakthrough in snack-related technology. I thought it was a really, really good idea, and you came up with it.
Well, this was like 10, 15 years ago, but now they've just come out and it's all the rage.
Michael, have you had any other, snack-related ideas in the intervening years?
No, not really, no.
Man, that was your big chance.
Have you ever had a dirty Sanchez?
That's enough. Michael, thank you, sir. Hello, Johnny.
G'day.
Now, what's been stolen from you?
Well, actually, you blokes stole my name, Armitage Shanks.
Now, do tell.
Well, I've got two close mates of mine, and all three of us have fake drinking names. And mine's Johnny Turbo. My other mate's Roland Garros.
That's good.
Yes, that is
The
good.
final one is Armitage Shanks, which you ripped off. And we've had him for about a year.
Tell me something, Johnny. How does Armitage Shanks go with the ladies of an evening?
Oh, he's a well-taken man, so he's not allowed. But Roland Garros goes all right.
Hello, Sean. Very quick. Oh, well, I'm excellent, sir. What's been stolen?
Well, actually, nothing's been stolen, but
Fair
I
enough.
just wanted to give you a Screech update.
Please do.
I saw Screech on Fox 8 Thursday night, and he was in celebrity boxing.
And who was he fighting?
Get this, Horseshack from Welcome Back Cotter.
And who won?
I shit you not, he was dead set going, I'm gonna whoop his ass and all this crap. And I'll tell you what, little Horseshack put one right on his chin, put him back a few steps and that, and he went, and then he beat the crap out of bloody Horseshack, and then he was rocking around the ring like he was some sort of good sort, like
I kicked Horseshack's ass. That makes for me.
I'll tell you one thing it's hard to do. That's a dirty Sanchez with a boxing glove on.
There we go. That'll do nicely. Thank you, Sean.
Get this weekdays on the Triple M network and KOFM in Newcastle.